Soon it will be September and my son will be starting school. Where will your daughter be going to school?
She won't be. We're home educating her.
But what about her GCSEs?
She's only 4. I'm not planning on entering her for exams until she's much older.
Yes, but if she isn't in the school system, how will she be able to take GCSEs?
Well, there are a number of ways of making sure she has qualifications later on. We can enter her as a private candidate, or she can take evening classes or correspondence courses, or she can go to school later on if she wishes. Some schools allow flexi-schooling, which means a student only has to attend 1 or 2 days a week. The school still receives funding for their coursework, exams and teaching as though they were a full-time student. However, as she is only 4, for now I am concentrating on making sure she has a good all-round education.
Oh? But what about chemistry?
What about it?
How will she be able to study chemistry? You don't have specialist equipment like schools do.
Chemistry is not all about Bunsen burners and magnesium strips. Many simple experiments can be set up at home using ordinary equipment that you can find in your own kitchen. In fact, baking, in itself, is chemistry. Also, children's chemistry sets have existed for decades. I used to have one that contained substances you would never find in any school laboratory, especially now that health and safety regulations are so strict.
Okay, you seem to have an answer for everything. But are you a qualified teacher?
You don't have to be a qualified teacher.
What? What on earth makes you think you are suited to educating your own child?
Teachers are trained to deliver a specific curriculum in a specific way to a large group of children they barely know. When you are teaching your own children at home, following their interests and aptitudes and going at the pace that best suits them, those skills are not needed.
Says who? I bet what you're doing isn't even legal. I'm going to report you to the authorities.
On the contrary, our right as parents to educate our children ourselves is enshrined in UK law. Feel free to look up the Education Act if you don't believe me. The law specifically states that education is compulsory, either at school or otherwise. In fact, there is an organization called Education Otherwise that can give you a great deal of information on all aspects of home education.
Okay, so what if your daughter wants to learn something that you know nothing about? What if she becomes interested in astrophysics, or molecular biology, or mechanics?
I find it interesting that you assume I know nothing about those particular subjects, since you barely know me. But if she does want to learn about something I don't have a great deal of knowledge about, there are many options open to us. I can ask someone who does know, or show her where to look it up, or enroll her in a workshop. However, I flatter myself that I have a wide range of knowledge, and most importantly, I have not lost the desire to learn new things myself. No one ever said home education was all about educating the children.
Well, that's all well and good. But even if she is learning, won't she grow up into a misfit if she hasn't learned to mix with other kids?
Oh, the old socialization question. You know, that question is so overdone that I'm not even going to attempt to answer it. Perhaps you should just come back in 10 years' time and ask me again. Or maybe you could Google it, because right now I don't have the time to tell you the many reasons why your assumption is wrong.
But if she doesn't get used to the rough and tumble of playground politics, and she doesn't get used to doing as she's told, and if she doesn't get used to working in groups and dealing with conflict, how is she going to grow up into a balanced human being?
Firstly, playground politics are only important if you spend any time in a school playground. Secondly, she knows how to do as she's told because I am very strict in that sense. Thirdly, she is already a member of a home education social club and she will be starting to get involved in the girl guiding movement when she is 5, meaning she will have ample opportunities for group projects. Oh, and she has a baby brother to squabble and make up with. I think she's doing just fine for conflict for the time being.
That's all great, but it's not the same as school, is it?
No. That's the whole point of doing it.
Well, I believe children must go to school in order to have a normal childhood. Your children will not have a normal childhood if they don't go to school.
What is your definition of a normal childhood?
One in which they go to school like all the other normal kids.
Do you know what a fallacy is?
No.
That figures. Perhaps, whilst you are Googling education otherwise, you should look that word up too. I must confess, I am getting really very tired of this conversation. Do you mind if we leave it now?
God. There's no need to be so defensive.